Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for entrepreneurs. If you've got any questions about any aspect of your business, we've got it covered here on the show. We've got an entire lineup of experts to handhold and mentor you through your entrepreneurship journey. Tonight, in the LOT hot seat, first up is Chingari. I'm also in conversation with Anisha Singh of My Dala and She Capital. Thanks very much for joining us here on the show. I want to start by talking about Chingari and, what can you tell us about the journey, what that process has been like for you?
Thank you, Sananda, for having me on your show. So the journey of Chingari started 2 years back when Reliance Jio came in a big way in the broadband space in India. So everybody had 4G phones and they had 4G data, but we saw that the tier two, tier three, tier four Indians. They had nothing to consume in terms of content. These were the guys who don't understand Facebook. They were not on Instagram, so we thought that we'll build something for them, and that's where the journey of Chingari started. So initially, it was a video meme creation app, and from there to today, that being the TikTok of India, uh, the real traction happened, especially during the pandemic when Prime Minister Modi gave this clarion call of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So users started, downloading Chingari, started comparing us and calling us as the TikTok of India. And then after that, obviously, we know about the Galwan Valley situation, the TikTok ban that got us a lot of traction. And today, now we are at 50 million users. So it has been a tremendous journey so far.
I'm looking at some data and want to talk about the fact that TikTok had almost 90% of the market share. I understand till June of last year, losing over 40% of that thanks to also security concerns, but also the innovation really that brands like yourself, businesses like yourself, have been able to bring to the table. What can you tell us about that journey? How you've been able to really capitalize on the opportunity that has been presented?
Sure. So for Chingari, it was the right product at the right time. So we have been building the product for 2 years. We had the product out there. It's just that this Chinese apps ban, the TikTok ban, actually catapulted us to the next phase of growth. I mean, we before the ban also we were seeing quite a bit of traction. We had some 3 to 4 million downloads, but yeah, I mean, we were ready in terms of product. We were ready in terms of the team that was executing really fast. So for us, it was like we were at the right spot at the right time, and it was just waiting for this opportunity. That so TikTok, with which had the majority of the market, it just went out and left a big void in the space, and we were able to recoup a lot of that. So it's I think very few entrepreneurs or products get such an opportunity where suddenly your top competitor is gone, and then you have a very exact alternative of the service or product, and users just want to use it, and that's how we grew. So for us, we didn't have to spend anything in terms of customer acquisition cost. No, we never advertised. I mean, we never ran any TV ads. No, nothing. Like for us, it was completely organic growth. I mean, users just downloaded and shared it with their friends and family, and that's how we grew. So I think being at the right time with the right product is timing is also very important. Is what I feel, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I mean, just if, I will just give an example. So right now there is an app called as Clubhouse, which is really going viral in the startup ecosystem in India. um, 10 years back, couple of startups tried doing that and they failed, but right now that company is valued at $1 billion. So I think it's all about timing. When you are out, and have you got the timing right? That's very critical.
So while you may have had the first mover advantage, my question to you more is now that the short video market and apps, we're seeing a few more of those. There's Josh, there's Mitro. My question is, how you then taking on the competition. It's not just international competition, but it's now homegrown brands as well, that are increasingly tapping into this market and this business. How do you view that? How you marketing and branding yourself, because you still, while this competition, you're still the largest player in the space. How are you really viewing these two?
Sure. So we welcome any kind of competition. So I think with the opening of the market now, the government has leveled it field in terms of Indian companies competing with each other, raising capital. So there are certain competitors who came into existence after the ban. So they just saw an opportunity and thought of building a product to come and squeeze the space. While we and couple of other competitor products were before the ban, like we were building it prior to the ban was just a factor of getting us users. So I mean, I see India is a big market. There can be multiple players, who can become really really big companies, and still coexist in a market like India. Competition is very welcome. It keeps us in our toes, and I think we will be differentiating ourselves by the innovations that we are doing. So we recently launched a video commerce feature in the app, which basically enables every video to become shoppable. So like every video that a creator uploads on Chingari immediately becomes shoppable. You will be able to shop any product which is on that video, it's all automated, built with ML, AI, computer vision algorithms. So I mean, I think this is the innovation that will differentiate us from our competitors.
You started by saying you cater to Bharat or small town India. So my question in terms of customization and how you're reaching this population and this size of the audience, what would you want to tell them?
Absolutely. I mean, the tier two, tier three, tier four Bharat is very different culturally, very different from a metro consumer. I mean, these people, they want to consume content in their vernacular local language. They want to create content in their vernacular language. So for metro kids, it's all about English. They want to be uber cool, and they connect with the Western kind of culture. But if you go to the tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 kids, they are all they're yeah, like very very they are very, like, still connected to our local cultures, and they are culturally very different. So they are it's absolute two different Indias. We have to build keeping their cultures in mind. The product has to show that we appreciate. So we have like 12 different feeds, and then there is a machine learning algorithm which learns about if you are let's say I'm in Bangalore, but I'm a Odia guy and I watch Odia videos staying in Bangalore. So you will be shown more local language content of your language. So we have to keep that cultural difference in mind, and focus on building the product.
Have you raised funds, and what was that fundraising experience like for you?
Sure. So we have raised two rounds of funding. We are closing in our pre-series A right now. So it's still in process of closing. So I won't be able to discuss or give any details. But yeah, we'll be announcing it. I think by mid of March. It's about to close in next 2 3 weeks.
Okay, let's then talk about what you want to leave us with in terms of investments, growth, future plans. What can you tell us?
Sure. So we right now we are at 50 million downloads. We expect to reach 100 million downloads in next 6 months, and the total market is around 500 600 million users in India, including the vernacular users. So there is a lot of headroom to grow. I mean, we want to reach the 500 600 million downloads in next 4 to 5 years, and then be a massive player in this space.
All right, out of time on this segment. Thanks so much for your time. On the other side of a break, I'm in conversation with Anisha Singh of She Capital in Maidala. Back in just a moment. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight in the LOT hot seat is Anisha Singh of Maidala and Shikap. Anisha, just very briefly for our viewers, if you could describe Maidala and She Capital, what can you tell us?
Basically, I started Maidala in 2009, and in 2013 it became really clear that there were a lot of women entrepreneurs coming through, and I actively started mentoring women entrepreneurs. And uh, 2017, it was like a realization that something needed to be done around funding. I was speaking globally, and the numbers looked so dismal that they say if you can't get someone to do it, then you have to do it. And so it was one of those things where the only way to solve the funding cycle, which I think is a little broken for women entrepreneurs, was to have more women sitting on this side of the table. And so I started She Capital in 2018 is when we said, we'd go out and register for it as a SEBI AIF fund. And then 2019 is when we actively started raising for it. 2020, we did our first close and made our first investment. And,
Sure.
it's been onwards and upwards since.
I want to talk funding. Research showing that less than 5% of all funds coming into the ecosystem, the entrepreneurial ecosystem, going into businesses that have been started and founded by women entrepreneurs. How's that going to change, and what's your own take on this?
There are a lot of factors, right? It's not one thing in play.
Okay.
It's a lot of things, including the fact that there weren't enough women entrepreneurs. I mean, in 2009, when I started, you could count them on one hand. We were a handful of us, right? So I don't think it was by virtue of an ecosystem where there was a conscious effort made to, segregate males and female founders. It just so happened that female founders are playing a game of chase right now, and we're trying to catch up to our male counterparts. But that seems to be everywhere globally, right? That's happened to us in anything that we've done. So uh, you know I, I'm fairly optimistic on what the future holds. We've seen the year started with a great IPO from Bumble, and I actually think it's just we'll see a lot more happening. And I'm actually obviously doing She Capital because I believe and I'm betting on the next set of unicorns and the public IPOs happening from women entrepreneurs.
On the other hand, what do you think female founders and entrepreneurs are perhaps doing wrong when it comes to fundraising? What are some of the top mistakes you see of businesses which are pitching to you?
The fact of the matter is, now that I sit on this side of the table, I realize that you want to see scale. You want to see, as an investor, that the entrepreneur has that vision of making this a big, large scale, play in terms of whatever they're going to be doing. And so when women entrepreneurs do projections or funding and they come to you, they tend to be a little more conservative in where the growth is, as opposed to male founders that present. So there is that big marked difference that you see, where I think we just women entrepreneurs should definitely explain funding a little more better, and that market
Mhm.
sizing a little more better, and a little more
Sure.
optimistic, or have scale in it at least.
So we were talking about funding statistics. Another piece of data that I have with showing that funding for women founded and co-founded startups falling 24% to about 280 million. That's just in the first half of 2020 compared to 2019. Hopefully 2021 is looking better. What's your sense?
It's a function of a lot of things, including the
Okay.
fact that there haven't been predominantly a lot of women that have scaled businesses to this. So I think also when you see women doing it, and now we're seeing Nika do this, there is definitely going to be, and you're seeing a lot more unicorns come through. There is a
Yeah.
lot more in terms of women seeing scale as well. But that being said, there is definitely a challenge and an issue, and which, I mean, we're trying to resolve that. The reason She Capital came about was because we saw there was enough seed funding happening, but there was limited when it came to pre-series A and series A. And so
Sure.
that is what the missing piece of the puzzle is, what we're trying to solve for right now.
Research also showing that exits by VCs, Ps, investors essentially, in women founded and led businesses is much higher than their male counterparts. You're both, an entrepreneur and an investor. So how would you really read this data?
Okay, so I think we're now starting to see a lot of that happen, right? You're
Yeah.
seeing a lot more focus on women entrepreneurs, and in general, uh, more so than the large corporates, there are VC funds that are now trying to do a lot more women-centric stuff and bring more women consciously into their portfolios. SIDBI, I know the government-funded arm is playing an active role in trying to do more around women-centric ventures. So there is a lot more happening as far as the larger corporates are concerned. I think we will. There is a bit of time before we see some of them actively start investing into India, but on the ground level, there's already a lot of activity that has started on in India.
Globally, you have businesses like, say, for instance, a Microsoft, which have incubators specifically looking at, different groups of entrepreneurs. Women entrepreneurs, for instance, have very specific incubators. We're seeing these examples globally. Do you think we could see more of those in India? Do you think perhaps that landscape is changing?
Yeah, I think one of the things that people get stuck on when they're raising funding is thinking that the buck stops and ends at angel funding, seed funding, VC funding.
Yeah.
My thing to anybody would be there are so many other options, especially for women who have built solid businesses from ground up to explore. I mean, there's a plethora that's come about. There's the government schemes that we're talking about, which at a seed stage level do. But there's also, each state has their own schemes running for women entrepreneurs, especially for women entrepreneurs. So that's there as well. And plus there's state funded incubators, accelerators that are now extremely active in trying to do things. Apart from that, I think there's things like debt funding, which can be explored, and there's other aspects of funding that can be explored rather than just pretty much stick by the book and say we want to go for funding, and so we're going to go the VC investment route.
Okay, two viewer queries that I want to end today's interview with. First is coming to us from Chandra Prabha. She says this has come to us on our Twitter page, saying that she is based outside of a metro. Very difficult to gain access to mentors, to funding. What do I do? How do I go about this? What is your suggestion?
You know, Chandraprabha, I think now the scenario due to COVID has completely changed. Everything has moved online, and I think this has been in favor for. There is no tier two, tier three, tier one. Everybody's pretty much on the same platform, which is Zoom. So my thing is, I always tell entrepreneurs in general, do not look at investors as just investors. Go out and start building relationships upfront. You are the at the very early stages. The investor is investing in you and not in I mean, in your venture, but really just you as a person, right? You are the person that they're investing behind, and so they really need to know you and be able to understand that. So right at the ideation stage, reach out to people saying this is what my idea is. Reach out for advice, and people are fairly open with that in terms of startup programs. Then actually there are a lot of active accelerators and incubators now that have come about, especially for women entrepreneurs on a state level,
Sure.
that are doing things in terms of innovation.
Sure.
So I mean, reach out to those incubators. Then there are so many networks that have now started for women entrepreneurs that are just helping women entrepreneurs figure out different pieces of the puzzle and go through it in a methodical fashion.
We have another question, and this is our last question. This is coming to us from our viewer, Elizabeth Dasa. She's written to us on our Facebook page, Anisha, saying, I have taken a break professionally. I'm considering coming back to the workplace. And when I'm pitching my idea, while there is a lot of interest on the idea itself, it seems like more attention and more, I would presume, money is going towards younger entrepreneurs. How about us slightly older women entrepreneurs? What do we do?
I don't think age is a factor at all. I don't think the beauty of being in the startup ecosystem is actually, I don't even think experience or taking a break is a factor at all. It's really based on the idea, but also on the proof of concept and how much traction have you gotten on that. So my thing to anybody is, and I get on a regular basis people on LinkedIn pinging me saying, I have an idea. And ideas mean nothing until they are executed on, first thing. But secondly, also please place this down in a document which is a more formal pitch when you're reaching out to an investor. Because you know what? The investors also need to see that you've taken that effort and energy to actually build out the pitch deck. You have the vision of answering all the questions that an investor could possibly have. And my second thing is research the investor before you actually go out and talk to an investor. We get don't reach out to somebody who's doing AI or somebody who's doing consumer tech and then be pitching a product which is a B2B SaaS product. So really, for anybody that is going out there, idea means nothing until you put it down, pitch, have a pitch around it, do your projections, show how that idea is going to scale. So all that legwork needs to be done for an investor to be able to see that. I really honestly don't think age is it. It's really about putting it down on paper and being able to express yourself in terms of ideation. And if you've got a proof of concept, then even better and more brilliant, because you can really go out there and then prove it, because the proof is in the pudding.
Anisha, good having you here on the show. All right, completely out of time here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. If you have any feedback for us, do send us your thoughts, your opinions, your advice, your feedback. We love hearing from you. That's all from us for tonight, though. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.